or only this Wednesday is taking?
Actually, last class he said he'll be taking next Wednesday.
Okay, but if it is permanently fixed, then it's all right. Otherwise, if it is not permanently fixed, then I would like to fix it.
He has not said anything about
So you
it.
Sir,
do
actually,
one
maybe
thing.
it is not permanently fixed. Actually, sir has said only for next week.
Okay, but now what you should do, you can contact Dr. Vajpayee and request him that Sir Trivedi sir has already given the slot 12 to 1 and he has fixed his schedule. So would it be possible to shift little bit?
Sir, actually, research methodology is common for VLSI and IS as well. So
Okay, okay.
सबका देखना पड़ेगा.
Yes, you are right. So how would I come to know? Then if it is 12 to 1 is busy, then we can have 2 to 3 or rather same time 3 to 4 is okay
So then 3 to 4 is okay.
or 3 to 4 is okay.
Yes,
Because
sir.
why I keep 3 to 4 because you can have lunch and other thing. No? Because so 3 to 4 Wednesday is okay.
Yes,
Friday
sir.
12 to 1 is okay.
Yes,
Friday
sir. Yes, sir.
uh, just just a minute. Yes. So Wednesday 3 to 4 fine.
Yes, sir.
Please tell me your reservation. Otherwise, once I fix, then it is difficult to change it later on. Friday
Sir,
12 to 1. Just please discuss among yourself because now we need to streamline the things.
सर अगर नवल सर ने फिक्स नहीं करा तो फिर हम लोग नेक्स्ट वेडनेसडे से 12 to 1 ही रख लेते हैं.
हाँ तो
एक बार हम
I am
सर से बात कर लेंगे.
yes it is not very difficult. Na, everything can be done. Hmm. Or it is quite possible that he can cancel the class itself. That is also possible. So it's better to fix 12 to 1 Wednesday and Friday 12 to 1.
Okay, sir.
And now there is one more lecture I would like to take. That is because Monday, Tuesday, my morning slots are already booked.
Sir, yes, sir. Same here.
So we need to shift in the afternoon. So you can tell me, you prefer Tuesday or you prefer Monday afternoon?
Sir, both are okay. Yes, sir.
But still, you should tell me one day, na? Because Wednesday is fixed. So Tuesday we can meet 3 to 4
Sure, sir.
because that is the only possibility left. Because Monday, Tuesday I am busy in the morning session. So I will also note down somewhere. So I will accordingly I will put in my Webex meeting. I will also note it down. I will just note down. So what we are fixing, I will repeat once again. Tuesday 3 to 4. Fine. Wednesday 12 to 1. Friday 12 to 1. Is this okay? Okay, fine. So this is finalized. One thing is finalized. Now the book which I recommended is Steve Reckley is okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we'll go ahead now. All of you are having this copy of that book, Steve Reckley.
Sir, I have downloaded it from online PDF.
I also downloaded it actually. So because the library is not having, and because of Corona, many things got affected. So anyway, so if you are not having, then I can put on the Google Classroom.
Sir,
So
I will
and
share
as
it
far as,
in the WhatsApp group.
so you share it. It's better you
Uh,
share it.
okay, sir.
One more thing regarding the assignment examination, I will use Google Classroom because it's easy for submission, and I can also check who has submitted late and other things. That way Google Classroom is good. But now, as far as the other controls are concerned, this as compared to Google Meet, Webex meeting is better because I can have a list of participant who has attended and up to what time. Although this is also possible in Google Meet, but I have to download the software Meet Attendance. So in case, but Webex give you more options. So classes would be held on Webex. Assignment exam would be conducted through Google Classroom. Is this fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir.
So this point is also clear now. Sorry. Where's please? Mhm, mhm. I think we just discussed this better, Nidhi. We just discussed that better. They will request to uh, Dr. Vajpayee. If he shifts, then it's fine. Otherwise, I will shift on that particular Wednesday. So that was just discussed. Otherwise, from after this Wednesday, this is doubtful whether I take 12 to 1 or some other time slot, depending on whether Dr. Vajpayee agrees to it or not. But from next to next week, definitely it is going to be 12 to 1. Okay, and Tuesday 3 to 4, I repeat, Friday 12 to 1. So, fine. Anyone is having any other comment on that? Okay. So, you are finding comfortable to attend Webex classes or Google Meet was better?
So now it is comfortable after first
Yeah,
class.
it's comfortable. I think it's better because everything takes its own time. So what I will do, because I have to leave little early today also, so I will share something, this Steve Reckley book, some introduction of this wireless networking. Okay, so I'm going to share it now. So can you see it now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Because you should tell me whether you are able to see it or not. Okay. Last time we had some problem. So this is the development of wireless networking. So as I think you all of you done a course in computer network. So you must be knowing that this computer networking basically started through some project in USA. Okay, that is defense related project. And as far as the wireless networking is concerned, that was for the wired network. DARPA project was there. But as far as the wireless networking is concerned, so credit goes to University of Hawaii, that is also in USA. And because they started some research project in Aloha Net in 1970s. Okay. So, and after that, because that was basically the backbone for this 802.11 protocols. Now, what is 802.11? Basically, there's a set of protocols or rules and regulation by which the devices are connected or networking is carried out. Okay. So this is basically also known as wireless LAN, the WLAN, and we can also say Wi-Fi standards or Wi-Fi is also associated with 802.11. So this first standard has come out in 1997. So that is the history of that. As I told you, there's wireless network. Wireless network is having different kind of networks. 802.11 is there. Personal area networking also there. That is 802.15. Then we are having 802.16. WiMAX is also there. So many standards are there already. And we are also having the cellular network. So many wireless network technologies are there. So as such, it is quite heterogeneous that way, wireless networking. So only reading one particular theory or one particular thing would not be sufficient to understand the wireless network as such. And as far as the wired networking is considered, so the standard 10 Mbps was there in earlier 90s. That is Ethernet, if you recall. That must have been taught to you somewhere. That is 10 Mbps. That was there. It operated at 10 Mbps, but data rate was 10 Mbps. Now, this Wi-Fi or 802.11 protocols, they also evolved with time. So there were different standards like 802.A, 802.N, something like that. But different standards are there. So we'll go into the depth of that later on. So now also there is another kind of networking is data. Basically, what is the infrared data association? That means infrared data association. So many different kind of network technologies are there in the wireless domain. So some of them is also summarized basically. So on this particular figure, right now I'm following Steve Reckley, but later on I can change the book also. But for the timing, I think it is sufficient to start with this. So we can have on this side, we can have this range, which is given in meters. We can have meters. And this is on this side is we are having the rate. So the rate is also given in Mbps and the range is given in meters. So we can say we can go up to 1 Gbps using some technologies like the below 1 Gbps is 802.11n protocol. And below that we can say the rate wise is 802.11a, 802.11g. And below that is 802.11b. So there are different kind of technologies are there. Zigbee is also there, which operates at 20 kbps, which is very low data rate kind of wireless network. So Zigbee operates at 20 kbps. We are having WiMAX, which is having very good range also and very good rate also at the same time. 802.16 D protocol is there. But WCDMA also comes, some cellular networks also coming into the picture. That is given here over. So many things are not covered also in this figure. That does not mean this is completely covering all the wireless networking technology. This is not like that. But few of them are listed over here. So WCDMA is also there, which is also known as 3.5G networking. Like here we can see this, we are not, because the book was written in 2007. Probably that time even this LTE, that is 4G, was not coming into the existence. So this book is quite old that way because it was published in 2007. That is around 14 years, 13 to 14 years back. So, but few fundamentals are given rightly in this book. So, starting point, as a starting point, I am preferring this book. But later on, we can change the book also. So, it has not mentioned as such the 4G basically, which we are using currently, which is also based on OFDM technology. So, this is not mentioned over here because the book was written long back that way. Okay. So, any question here? Any doubt? Even the 5G was, it's not possible to even mention the 5G also. Okay, so we are having this different kind of networking. We can see diversity of wireless network technologies there. So the rate goes from 20 kbps. Now wireless USB is basically derived from this ultra wideband UWB communication basically. So and it is having a very good data rate 500 Mbps, but for a short range communication. The range is limited, so few meters only. So ultra wideband wireless USB is basically operates at very good data rate, but the range is also limited. So we are having different thing. We are having range as well as that is the distance it covers, because in the wireless thing the range is very important, unlike the wired network, because in the wired network the wire goes everywhere, so range is not that important. And even if the signal degrades in wired networking, you can have a repeater station, so you can regenerate the signal and then it is transmitted again, so you can extend the range also. So in the wired network the range is not that important, but in the case of wireless, because of the wireless channel characteristic, the range become very important. How much is going to be the coverage? What is the reliability of the coverage? What is the outage probability? Outage means the particular thing is not covered at one point of time. What is the percentage of time it is not covered? So outage plays a very important role in the wireless network, which is not there. These issues are not there in the wired networking basically. So data rate is also equally important here. So data rate. So we are having plethora of this network technologies, starting from 20 Gbps to well over 1 Gbps, although it is the book has mentioned only 500 Mbps, but we know that the 5G, what this 4G and 5G can achieve. So it is going to be well over 1 Gbps. Okay. So please understand this book was written around 13-14 years back, and a lot of things have changed in last 13-14 years. But few fundamentals which has not changed, so we are going to follow from that book also. Okay. Now another important thing that is mentioned is MIMO. That is, what is the meaning of MIMO? Any one of you can tell me this? What is the meaning of MIMO? Any one of you can tell? Well, this word you must have listened many times now. So what is MIMO?
Multiple
Any
input,
one of you?
multiple
Any one
output.
of you? This is not very difficult.
So
And even if
multiple
you say something wrong, there is no penalty to it. So feel free to reply. Yes.
So multiple input, multiple output.
Yes. In what is very good, but in what context it is used?
And data capacity. मतलब,
Basically, MIMO is one technology that is multiple input, multiple output, and as far as the things are concerned, this could be used in many ways. For example, the MIMO could be multiple antennas at the transmitter side, multiple receive antenna also at the receiver side. So this becomes a MIMO system. What happens sometimes is that even if you are having a single antenna device, but there are multiple single antenna device, then also it can become a MIMO system. Because if there are multiple devices, they are working in collaboration. That means there's some kind of cooperation is there among the devices. Even if each is having only one antenna to transmit, it can also form a MIMO system like that. So now what is the objective of MIMO system as compared to CISO? CISO is basically single input, single output. So only one
Parallel
transmitter,
transmission
one
will increase the
antenna. So what is the objective of MIMO, or how it performs better as compared to CISO? As any one of you?
Sir, more data transfer at the same time.
Yeah, so that is good. So basically, this is coming under this what is known as spatial division multiplexing, SDM. Through multiple antennas, you can have this spatial division multiplexing. Okay, Spatial, now why this word is coming? You are having time division, you are having frequency division. Why spatial? Spatial basically when you are having different antennas and the antennas are kept one or two wavelength apart, then basically they form a parallel channel. They form parallel channels. See what you do basically when you are having very high data rate, sometimes you convert from serial to parallel. You remember that? Then you transmit over parallel channels. So if you are having multiple antennas at both transmitter and receiver, they can create parallel channels. In the spatial domain, spatial means what I should say. Spatial means something in space, something in space. So they create spatial parallel channels. So that's why the word is spatial, S-P-A-T-I-A-L. Spatial means something in space. So they create parallel channels, and on which these parallel channels you can transmit the data in parallel. So multiplexing will take place. Multiplexing will take place, and overall data rate would be increased. That is one biggest advantage of MIMO system. Another advantage of MIMO system is that it can also create diversity advantage. Now the next question you should ask me, what is diversity? So if you are not asking, then I can ask you, what is diversity, by the way?
So multiple channels sharing the same space.
No, no. What is meant by diversity? Anyone else? Yes, there are around 10 to 11 students. How many of you are there, by the way, in the class?
Sir, 11.
12, 11.
So, hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. 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 So there was some connectivity issue also. So I was discussing what is diversity. So diversity
Sir,
basically
can be
means
used for,
when yes. Welcome. Yes, who is speaking?
sir, it can be schemes. There are schemes to reduce attenuation.
Please speak loudly so that others, your colleagues, can listen what you are saying.
Hello?
Hello. Yes, please speak loudly.
Sir, it can, there are schemes to reduce attenuation of the signal.
No. Basically, this diversity is used to increase the reliability of transmission, you can say. And how it increase the reliability? By sending the same information over parallel independent channels. I have used the word independent because this word is very important in diversity, where the channels have to be independent. Otherwise, you will not get diversity advantage, or you will not get the reliability of transmission unless you are having independent channels. I will give you one example. Probably we can discuss a little bit of that. I can also share this one note now. It will take only hardly 5 minutes to understand what is diversity. So I can also share. Can you see the OneNote now?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. It's not difficult, in fact. Okay. So this is transmitter. This is a receiver. We are having one path. The path could be in any domain, like it could be in time domain, it could be in frequency domain, it could be in spatial domain, whatever it is. But there is a connection between the transmitter and receiver. And we are having, say, for example, 3 channels or 3 paths between the transmitter and the receiver. And they are independent. They are independent means if one is having a trouble, others are not likely to have a trouble. Other channels are not likely to have a trouble. If they are independent, then one is having trouble, then others would also be in trouble. That is the meaning of that. That's why the independence is very important. For example, 90% of time, all the channels exhibit the same kind of properties, that 90% of time they behave properly. This is some signal attenuation or some other things. The channel conditions are really poor sometimes.
Hello.
Are you able to listen?
Sir, can you please repeat it?
Okay, only you or all of you?
Yeah,
All
All of you.
All of you.
Yes, sir.
Actually, there is some problem with
You
this
are not
institute
audible.
networking. Some problem is there with the institute networking. Anyway, I will repeat this once again. So this transmitter and the receiver. Suppose that we are having 3 parallel channels and they are independent. All the channel exhibit the same kind of properties. The properties that 90% of time the channels are behaving as a good channel. That means you can successfully transmit the data. 10% of time you cannot transmit the data through them. So the probability of good is 0.9, probability of bad channel is 0.1. This is applicable to all the 3 channels. Now suppose that there is only a single channel. There is only a single channel. So you can transmit the data only for up to 90% of time reliably. 10% of time you cannot transmit the data on an average. Is this making sense to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now suppose that I add the second channel. That is my channel number 1. Now I add second channel, which is independent of the first channel. So there are 4 possibilities. I can have 4 combinations. Both the channels are good. What is the probability of that? Because they are independent, so I can write this as
81%.
a little bit of probability theory, product of these 2. Because they are independent, then only I can write like this. Is that making sense to you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Anyone who is having any doubt, please interrupt. Yes, please. Yes, please ask the question.
No, sir, we were saying like it's clear to us.
Okay. So that is 0.9 into 0.9. What is that now?
0.81.
0.81. All right. Now one channel is good, another channel is bad. This combination is also possible. So what is the probability of that particular event? One is good, one is bad.
0.18.
No. Probability of good is 0.9. Probability of bad is 0.1. So 0.09. Okay. The first channel could be bad also. The second channel could be good also. So what is the probability of this particular event?
0.09.
0.09. Very good. Now both are bad at the same time. This is also quite possible. So I'm not writing BB, only I'm simply multiplying with that. 0.01. 0.01 is the answer. Now if we add all these combination probabilities, the sum should be 1, which is of course coming out to be 1. 0.81, 0.09, 0.09 plus 0.01. Now out of the 4 combination, good, 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 bad, bad, good, bad, bad. So reliable communication is possible from these 3 combinations because at least one channel is good. Because all the channels are transmitting the same information. So what is the sum of the probabilities? So it becomes 0.9.
99.
And bad, where you are not able to transmit any information, it becomes only 0.01. So earlier, using a single channel, we were able to transmit only 90% of time. Now using this second channel, which is independent. Why I am making independent? Because if both the channels are bad, that probability should be reduced. That is only possible when they are independent. In this case, 99% of time, 99% of time I am able to successfully transmit the data. Only 1% of time I am not able to transmit the data. So now if I add the third channel, what will happen? Only one combination, that is bad, bad, bad. You are not able to transmit any data successfully. That means 99, that becomes 0.001. That means 99.9% of time you would be able to successfully transmit the data. So their quality of service has automatically increased, or in other words, the reliability has increased. So this advantage is known as the diversity advantage. So this is basically diversity. And how it could be achieved? Either it could be achieved in time domain by transmitting the same information in the different time slots, or by transmitting the same information in different subcarriers, but only condition should be that the time slot should be far apart so that they become independent. Frequencies should be far apart so they become independent, because while I will teach you the wireless channels, there are 2 words which will come into the picture. One is the coherence time, another is the coherence bandwidth. So within the coherence time, all the slots are affected same by the channel. And coherence bandwidth, within this bandwidth, all the frequencies are affected same by the channel. So the time slot difference should be more than the coherence time. So there they become independent. Similarly, 2 frequencies should be far more apart as compared to the coherence bandwidth. So they also become independent. Or they could be in spatial dimension also. Spatial dimension in the sense, if the 2 antennas are kept few wavelength apart, 1 or 2 wavelength apart, they will transmit independent of each other. So in using spatial diversity, in fact, MIMO system exploit the spatial diversity also. So MIMO can be used in different number of ways. Multiplexing, increase the data rate. Diversity, increase the reliability. Or spatial division multiple access also, SDMA. where you can transmit simultaneously one antenna from one antenna to one user, one receiver, from second antenna to the second receiver, like that also. So these combinations are possible in the MIMO system. So we can use the combination also, diversity plus multiplexing, diversity plus SDMA, special division multiplexes, things like that. That's my MIMO is a key word nowadays. So I will take 1 or 2 lectures if possible on MIMO system also. So this diversity concept is clear to all of you? Any question here?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay, one more thing. This when I say 2 antennas should be kept apart, it does not mean they are kept apart meters or miles apart. Because the way we are operating, for example, if we are operating at wireless LAN, some of the wireless LANs are operating at say 5 gigahertz. So what is the wavelength? It's not difficult to calculate. 3 to 10 to the power 8, that is velocity of light divided by 5 into 10 to the power 9. So you can find out it is going to be 3/50 meters, or you can say 300/50 centimeters, or you can say 6 centimeter. So that is going to be the wavelength. 6 centimeter means just about 2 inches. So even if you keep antennas at just 1 or 2 wavelength apart, that means only few inches apart, they will create parallel channels. So the future wireless devices are going to have multiple antennas on their side also, because the operating wavelength has come down, because the operating frequency has gone up. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so we come back to this. So I will stop sharing this, because this is a problem. If I share 2 things, I need to stop sharing, then I need to share again. Okay. So this is MIMO, which is very important. Now, after that, although I have to go somewhere, but still I would like to mention few more things. Now, you must be aware of, since you have done a course in computer network, so you must be knowing about the OSI model, Open System and Interconnect model, and you must be aware of that.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. This is prescribed by ISO, so it is also known as ISO OSI model, International Standard Organization. So that gave you this Open System Interconnect model. So basically, this model is for the networking, and it is having 7 layers. So 7 layers are like that. So we can have this application layer at the top, and the protocols or standards that we follow is SNMP, SMTP, FTP, File Transfer Protocol, STTP, POP3. Presentation layer, we are having secure socket, SSL, and then you are having session layer, ASAP, SMB, transport layer, TCP, UDP, network layer, IP version 4, IP version 6, ARP, address resolution protocol, data link layer, you are having ARP, Ethernet, 802.3. Now this, basically this is the important thing. Here the things will change more in this domain compared to the wired network. 802.11 will come here over. And Bluetooth and other wireless technologies, basically, they will find place here. So we are going to study 2 layers, rather in more details, because these are the layers where wired network is different from wireless network. Okay, the Ethernet is used for the wired network, but we use Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, WiMAX, so many things for the wireless networking. Similarly, we are going to use this 802.11 protocols for this wireless networking. And also network layer, we will see what are the changes are possible while going for the wireless networking. Okay, like AODV, DSU, so many protocols are also there in the ad hoc networks. You must have heard these names already. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So there also in the network layer the things have changed, but upper layers is not going to be that different. So we are going to concentrate on these three layers to understand the basic difference between the wired and the wireless network. So these are basically the function of each layer. So that you must be knowing, because this is physical layer, because the data transmission, actual data transmission take place through the physical layer in terms of the voltage and signals and some frequencies. So this is the operational basic function of physical layer, and basically transmit you the bits. The data link layer, the bits are converted to frames. So basically this is also two more things come into the picture, that is medium access control. Who is going to access the media, who is going to transmit at what particular time. This is also given by the data link layer, and also logical link control. Okay, so this LLC MSC is a part of data link layer, DLL. Then there is a network, how the packets are going to be routed basically through the wireless network from source to destination. That will come under the network layer. So transport layer is basically for a reliable communication. There are two protocols, TCP and UDP are there, and so this is error recovery is also coming under this transport layer. Flow control, data flow control, error recovery, all are part of this transport layer. Session layer basically for to manage the session between the two devices. So this is for session layer, and after this we are having presentation layer. Presentation layer basically to present the data from one format to another format. So this is the presentation layer, because the two devices might be using different format. So converting from one format to another format is being done at the presentation layer. The application layer basically for the services, final application side, some protocols are defined, like file transfer protocol, mail services, and other things are decided at the application layer. So in summary, these are the 7 layers and their functionalities, and in this we are going to concentrate on these 3 layers. Okay, so this is the thing. And also this particular book has given how this particular, if you want to send an email message from sender to the receiver, how the different layers will come into the picture and what is going to be the functionality of each of the layer. So please go through this figure 2.1 yourself. So I understand all of you must have done it earlier also, but still I would like you to go through this once again. So that's all for today. Or any questions, I would welcome to answer this question. Otherwise we'll meet on what time now? Tuesday. What is, you please call me on Tuesday, some of you. Tuesday, I think 26th of January.
So,
Okay, so please call me on Tuesday morning. Okay, so whether I am going to take class or not. Okay, is that clear?
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Any question, please?
No, sir.
Okay. No queries. So I will end the meeting now. Okay. Thanks once again
Thank
to
you,
all of
sir.
you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, sir.